Hello everyone and welcome to the fourth Easia Active live webinar. After the webinar about our cycling tour in Vietnam and Cambodia, a webinar about Myanmar, and the webinar last week about Cambodia, today is the day of Vietnam. The webinar of today, as you can see from the slide, will be about active and adventure travel in Vietnam. Vietnam, for me, is one of my favorite destinations, if I have to be honest. It's a fantastic country, and you will see later, very diverse with different type of landscape, but also rich of culture, tradition, with a lot of ethnic tribes. And also, things to highlight is the food. As Brice is one of the, is really passionate about Vietnamese food, the food in Vietnam, it's great. It's really, really, really good. So now let's start. The webinar of today will be hosted by me. As usual, I am Matteo, the Easia Active Brand Manager. I am leading the Easia Active team in Southeast Asia, designing and organizing all the active and adventure tour in our destination. I have been living in Southeast Asia since 2016, mainly based in Cambodia, but luckily with my job, I'm able to travel often to all our destinations such as Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, Myanmar, and Laos. But today, our special guest and expert is Brice, our product manager in Vietnam. Welcome, Brice.
Yeah, hello. So my name is Brice. I'm French. I've been living in Vietnam since 2016, so it's 4.5 years now. I'm actually married to a Vietnamese, so I'm going to stay here for a while. I've been living in other countries in Southeast Asia, in Myanmar, in the Philippines, Indonesia. And I'm glad that I can present to you today, introduce you to Vietnam, some specific itineraries we have. And well, I hope I will convince you that Vietnam is an amazing destination, as Matteo mentioned, because
Exactly.
it is really.
We will see in this presentation. So let's have a look quickly at the agenda. I'm gonna quickly share with some of you, with all of you, what is the Easia Active and what we are doing. But then I will pass the floor to Brice, that is going to share with all of us a lot of information about Vietnam, when is the best season to travel, what are the best regions for active travel. And also the most interesting part, I guess, for all of you is when we are going to share with all of you some samples programs that we can design in Vietnam. And finally, we have the Q&A session. For your information, as I say, this webinar is recorded, so we're going to share with all of you the recording video. And if you have any questions, just write them in the chat box, and me and Brice, we are happy to answer to all your questions at the end of the presentation. So now let's start. So just a quick information about Easia Active. So who we are. Easia Active is the dynamic B2B adventure you can see, part of the Asia Travel Group. We are a dedicated and independent team specialized in adventure and sustainable travel. We have our sales team, our operation team, and our guide that have years of experience in all our destinations. At Easia Active, we always try to design programs that have low impact on the environment, but also something that I like to highlight is we always try to make a concrete and positive impact while designing our program, including some specific area, community, and trying to share the benefit with all our community where we operate in. Talking about the destination, we are based in 5 destinations in Southeast Asia. As you can see from the map here, we are based in Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia. Within these 5 destinations, we have 14 operational offices where our team is located. And as I say, we're part of the Asia Travel Group, and this gives us some advantages, such as the sharing the logistic of our offices where we operate, so where we have our team, but also in terms of contracting power, having really good rates, offering you very good rates in terms of hotel and activities and programs. But another important thing that I'm really happy to share with all of you this year is a 20 years anniversary of Easia, meaning that we have been in the travel business since 2000, and we have been designing and creating leisure and adventure experiences since 20 years now. Other additional information about Easia Active, as I say, we are an independent team specialized on adventure travel. We have our team that speaks different languages. Mainly, we have our sales team speaks English, but we have also some sales teams speaking French, German, and Italian. All our tour and product experiences that we include in our tours are designed by us, such as me or Brice on all our production team. And we always control the quality and of all our tours, trail that can be from a cycling tour, hiking tour, kayaking. It's everything controlled by our team. Also, talking about quality of the services, I would like to highlight our quality team that is helping us to control the quality of all our suppliers, such as transportation suppliers, hotel, restaurants, and also is helping us on creating specific training. And in particular, right now in this particular time, it's helping us a lot on following international standard to be able to welcome your traveler as soon as the border will open, to follow all the guidelines and things that we have to do to welcome travelers after the border will open again. Another thing about our offices, we have 14 operational offices, as I say, and our team is always available for you and for your traveler for any needs. Just a quick information about the sustainability. At Easia, sustainability is part of our strategy and company culture. As you can see from the different projects and actions that we do during the year and we have done during the previous years. I'm proud to say that we are partnered with some international organizations such as Travel Life, Child Safe, and APTA. Talking about Travel Life, I'm also sustainability coordinator, and I'm currently working with the team to reach our certification level in Cambodia, meaning that we are trying to reduce our impact within our offices, but also outside during our activities and tours. Talking about the impact, I would like to highlight our Child Safe, that we are Child Safe certified in all our destinations since various years, meaning that all our tours follow specific criteria in order to protect the children and the local population where we live and operate. And finally, just a quick introduction about the Refill project, a project that I developed in Cambodia in 2017, and I'm happy to say that from this year we're able to offer to all of you tours without using any plastic bottles. Thanks to the logistic that we design in our tours and providing also stainless steel aluminum bottle. Apart from that, now I think it's time to leave the floor to Brice and start the most interesting part, talking about Vietnam and all the information. Okay, Brice, I'm going to give the...
I'm ready.
Yes.
Okay, it should work in 1 minute. We need to share the screen.
Okay, just 1 second. I think there is...
I will take the lead.
Okay, there's some technical issue. Here we go.
Okay, I can share the screen. Now you see me.
Perfect.
Now you even have the PowerPoint. Is it? Does
yeah,
it work?
We can.
Okay,
see.
Perfect. I will talk, basically I will explain quickly about Vietnam in general, about the seasonality and the difference between the region. And I will present to you a few programs that are already made from 8 to 11 days, as well as mention 2 areas that I think are really, really nice, often skipped, and I think it's important for you to know about because it could be really useful. Quickly, for the port of access for Vietnam, we have 3 main airports, which are Hanoi in the north, of course, Ho Chi Minh in the south, which is the business capital of Vietnam, actually, and Da Nang, which is an upcoming international airport, which is already connected to most of the Southeast Asian cities, but which also have some new flights. For example, there is a Qatar flight So there is a Doha Danong direct. We also have a lot of land borders with other countries. So of course with Cambodia, some with Laos, and also some with China. Maybe some agency are offering combined tour with China, so it's also possible to do a land border with this country. For the flight, I will not mention all the flights and do a crazy listing. Just keep in mind that we have all the Southeast Asian city. We have Tokyo, Siem Reap, Phnom Penh, Bangkok, any city literally. We have also a lot of direct flight to Europe. We have, of course, with Vietnam Airlines to Frankfurt, to London and to Paris. And we also have Emirates, Etihad, Qatar, as I said. We fly directly to Dubai from Hanoi and from Ho Chi Minh. So we are well connected. The seasonality, again, I will not read the table globally. It doesn't make much sense. Just 2 points I really want to highlight for you. First point, North Vietnam is cold during winter. So I mentioned here January, February, and December. Be really careful. That's something usually our clients do not really realize until they have come here. Actually, North Vietnam is cold, especially in the mountain. When I say cold, I mean it can be 10 to 15 degrees, which with the humidity is actually really cold. It can be foggy too. It can be cloudy, really gray and muddy. So it's not really nice. So winter, North Vietnam, be careful. And the center in June, July, August, September is actually a good season to go. The center, the rainy season is October, November, December, as you can see. But during summer, it's actually a really good destination. For me personally, I go to the beach in the center this week. And it's just a really good destination. So as an agent, sometimes you have the issue of where to go in July and August, because my client wants to stay at the beach. So you have, of course, Indonesia and Malaysia. Vietnam is also a possibility to combine north and center. Can rain. It's not like sunny all the time, but it's really, really good. So keep in mind, it's also possible to travel to Vietnam during summer. Just quickly, some selling points, as we say, about Vietnam. Vietnam is really a multi-sport country. You can do everything here. You can do kayaking, you can do cycling, you can do hiking. Of course, it's super famous. It's really interesting because you have a lot of different landscape. So usually, from my point of view, the different weather means different landscape. And that's exactly the case in Vietnam. You have the north with, of course, the famous rice terraces and the rice field everywhere. The center is a lot also about smaller mountains, beaches that are super nice in the center, often not famous, but really nice. And a lot of lagoon, a lot of fishing in the center. The south is also quite rural. And you have, of course, the Mekong-Delta with a lot of rice field. For me also, when I arrived to Vietnam, was surprising was how easy it was to sleep in homestay. Because in some other Asian countries, you cannot sleep in homestay. In Vietnam, it's quite common, and you meet, as Matteo on the picture, you meet a lot of grandpa and grandma, and you can sleep in their house. You will share the dinner with them. You can share the lunch. They are usually super friendly. You might have to share some rice alcohol because that's what they do in the evening. But overall, it's easy to connect to the people. And you also have quite a rich history. Not everywhere, but particularly in the center and in the south, and also a bit in the north. A lot of tradition, a lot of culture. So for the guests, it's interesting. Matteo mentioned it at the beginning. I think that's the two last points are really important. First, the local cuisine, which is amazing. I mean, you probably all know Vietnamese cuisine, even in Europe. It's a really good food. And for me, what is important is that you have no spices. So it's a lot about vegetables and herbs, more than spices, so you don't get sick. It's really rare we have a sick client here in Vietnam. And also what is important are the good infrastructure. So Vietnam is a booming country in terms of economy. The roads are improving a lot. We have hundreds of domestic flights. You can fly literally everywhere in Vietnam from Hanoi or from Ho Chi Minh. We also have the train, which is not the case in every Asian countries. And overall, even the hospital and all these kind of things are really improving quickly. So that's one of the big things for Vietnam. And of course, that's the Vietnam we will talk about just after, but first, Matteo.
As Brice explained, as Vietnam is it's a fantastic destination, and one of the best ways of visiting Vietnam in our opinion, it's via active travel, organizing an active or adventure tour for different reasons. Like if you travel by hiking or bicycle or doing some adventure or slow travel, we always try to include in your itinerary destinations that are really less visited and remote. As you can see from these pictures, you can really, via bicycle or even via hiking, reach villages that are impossible to reach by a normal vehicle. And these also allow to have a really positive impact in those destinations, because they're not really popular, they don't get many tourists. So while including them in an itinerary, we're able to share and share the positive impact of the travel industry also for some families that are really they are not used to get this income. Also, active and adventure travel is eco-friendly way of traveling. We're able to reduce our impact on the environment while traveling by bicycle or by hiking. But also from a healthy point of view, after being stuck in the quarantine for three months, is also good for travel in terms of good for the body, good for the mind, to be in contact with the nature and also with the local people. For all of you, it's also a good business opportunity. Not all, because, example, cycling tour is famous not only in Europe but also in our destinations such as Vietnam. And this trend of active and adventure travel is growing more and more now. And with this webinar, we would like really to share with all of you these regions and area and itinerary that are perfect for active travel. And now Brice will share with you some of the best region for active travel and adventure travel.
Yeah, I will just recap just quickly, so we have an overview of Vietnam and what's possible for active and for adventure. Northern Vietnam, I think you all probably know, is really famous for the trek, mainly because of the rice terraces. With the rice terraces comes the ethnic minorities. They are literally everywhere in northern Vietnam, in all the mountains, and that's where also you can have a lot of homestay experience. Be careful though, since it's quite mountainous, it's also not easy for cycling. So we organize multi-day cycling in the north, is possible, but it's often challenging. So it's really easy to do cycling in the valleys for half a day, for 1 day, a few hours. But if you want a 6 or 7 day cycling in the north, is challenging. The north also has some kayaking experience, of course, the Halong-Bay that you all know, but also in Ba Be, where we have our own kayak. So it's also a nice place we will talk about in the program. Last thing, the north is often famous and renowned for the landscape. Of course, you have the Halong-Bay that often makes the headline, but you have Ha Giang, you have all the rice terraces, you have Ba Be, you have Cao Bong that we will talk about too. The north and the landscape are really wow, it's amazing, and you take a lot of pictures when you are in the north. The center is a bit different. By center, we often mean the area, between Phong Nha, Hue, Hoi An, Da Nang, which is just here. So Phong Nha is really famous for caving. It actually hosts the largest cave in the world, and you can do a lot of caving. We'll talk about Phong Nha just after. This region is super famous for cycling. We really, really like it. You can cycle all the way from Phong Nha to Hoi An. The roads are amazing. There are some mountains, there are a lot of rice field, lagoon, beach, everything, history. It's super, super interesting. We have other experience in the center, including the Bac Ma National Park. It's a national park which is between Hue and Da Nang, which is about here, that you can do some hiking, usually day hike, half a day hike. For us, we think there are two places that are really good for families or for couple, which are Phong Nha, which is just here in the north of the center, and Lac Lac, which we will talk, which is a bit south of the center. Also, the center is super famous for the culture and the history, because you have the DMZ. So the center was the border between northern Vietnam and southern Vietnam during the Vietnamese War. So the DMZ is just here. You also have the Nguyen dynasty. So the emperor of Vietnam were in Hue. So they have a lot of tombs and they have the imperial citadel. And you have Hoi An, which was of course a famous trader, for a place to trade for Chinese and Japanese. So you have a lot of Chinese and Japanese house which remains there. Last, the south of Vietnam, I will talk quickly. We will not discuss too much about this during this webinar. The south of Vietnam is perfect for cycling because it's entirely flat. It's super beautiful. You have a lot of canals, you have a lot of rice field. I love the Mekong Delta. I'm a big fan of the Mekong Delta, but you don't do hiking in the Mekong Delta because it's just flat, so you don't have some hiking to do. The place is rich for history and for culture because you're just next to Cambodia, and you also have a lot of Chinese immigrants who are coming here. So you have a nice mix of Vietnamese, Khmer, and Chinese architecture in some places where so it's really interesting. And for me, that's one of the best places for slow travel, which is also a growing trend. By nature, the Mekong Delta is peaceful. It's coconut, rice field, canals, and boats. So it's really nice just to relax and to disconnect. We just show quickly the team. That's the people you will get in touch when you work for Active with us. We have some quality. We have our own guide. So this is a full-time guide for Easia. I just mentioned 3, but we have in the north, in the center, and in the south of Vietnam. Okay, I just talk quickly about the team. Now I will talk about different programs that you can organize for Active. And I will talk about different programs for different profile. The first one I want to talk about is a super interesting program in northern Vietnam, which is based on 2 areas, which are Mekong Chai and Mong Hu. You probably don't know where it is, so I just put a map here. This itinerary starts in Hanoi and finishes in Hanoi, okay? It's between 7 to 11 days, depending on you, and we focus on region. So we leave Hanoi and we go to Mekong Chai district, Mekong Chai area. Mekong Chai are the most famous rice terraces in Vietnam. They are also the most beautiful. I will show you a picture just after. After spending a few days in Mekong Chai to do some hiking, we continue, we cross the mountain, and we go to Mong Hu and Hiti, which is just here, right at the border with China. Here we can spend from 3 to 4 days. It's also really interesting with a lot of markets. When we do this tour, it's Easia level 1, which means it's quite accessible to most of the travelers. We talk generally between 200 to 400 meters elevation per hike. And this hike are often 1 day or half a day that we combine together. So 2 half a day together. So it's not some 5 days, 6 days trekking. That's why the program is flexible because we don't have to go for 3 or 4 days. These places, you have to stay in homestay in most of them. So in Mekong Chai, you have some nice lodge, but the rest is often homestay or really local hotel. And one of the questions usually for the north is when to go. For this tour, we recommend October and November and March and to May to have the best weather. If you want to be sure to see the rice field at full bloom, the harvest is in September, so you need to come when it's raining, June to September. So it's possible to come. That's when I travel a lot to the north. It's just possible that one day you have a lot of rain, but it doesn't mean that it's raining all the time. And I particularly love this program. I think it's some of the best area in Vietnam. I just show you some pictures. This is Mekong Chai. Mekong Chai is well known. It's called the road of the photographers, and that's for a reason. It's just kilometers of rice field. It's really impressive. The Hmong minorities is working here. It's really the most wow rice terraces that you can see in Vietnam. And this picture, when I took it, it was actually a bit raining, and it still looks fantastic. So Mekong Chai is the first region. The second region is around Mong Hu. And you see here, you go upper in the mountain. So the minorities, they change. Especially you can see the Hani minorities, which are this person. They have really different way of living. They have a specific house made with mud. They put the wood outside of the house and they have this costume, which you don't see often. They often go to the ET market that we go, of course, and Mong Hu market, this one is with Red Zao. You have a huge diversity of minority in this region. And that's also why I really like it. Because on the first step, you have the rice terraces. And on the second step, you have a lot of minorities and also like you learn new things. They're really different regions. These are some pictures that actually Matteo took that he will talk about just after. Just to show you, these are some real pictures of just the general inspection that we do. You can see Matteo actually here on the back of the waterfall. It's not only about rice terraces. Here you can see corn, you have the buffalo. You will meet a lot of local, of course, because these areas are not touristic at all. So when you meet the local, they are really nice to you. They don't try to sell you scarves. You don't see Pringles in the shop next to the homestay. It's really authentic. You have a lot of food like this which is rice, vegetables, and meat. That's often what you have in northern Vietnam.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to share quickly my feedback. I was lucky to visit this area in April last year, and I spent a lot of time in Mukan Chai and Tule, where we have a nice homestay over there, and it was great. And this actually is the picture of the homestay where we stayed during that time, and yes, it was really beautiful. As Pris said, there is not only rice terraces, but also there are some trail, as you can see from this picture, where there are some valleys and some waterfall. So it's a really diverse tour and really, really beautiful.
Yeah. And okay, does it work? Yes, just quickly also. These are kind of the key selling points on the most important part. I was lucky enough to travel a lot in Asia, and I've seen most of the rice terraces that are famous in Asia, Indonesia, in the Philippines, in China. For me, Mekong Chai are really the best. The Mekong Chai rice terraces are amazing. That's the best I've seen in Asia. They are really, 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 really beautiful. Also, we go to some of my favorite markets. I love the market, and I've been to dozens in northern Vietnam, ethnic minorities market. Mongum and ET are amongst my favorites. They are super interesting. You can see the different costume here, and something that I didn't mention too much, but we are just next to China. And as you can see here, I don't know if you can see on the resolution, but the bag, for example, is coming with goods from China. So it's quite common for them to exchange. We have mostly homestays, but the homestays are really clean. You have the mosquito nets, it's perfect. You have hot water, and we don't want to be disconnected from reality. So this program, we also visit the Halong Bay. So you can go from 7 to 11 days in the north. You will hike, you will see the rice terraces, you will see the minorities, you will see the market, and you can also go to Halong Bay because your client will most likely say, we don't want to skip it. So it's possible to combine just after Hanoi. So at the beginning, at the end of the trip, usually at the end. At Easia, we often think, what is this program? Like, who is it for? What's the profile of the client? We need to organize this tour for. This one is really for anybody who can walk. As long as they are not scared to walk, then it's perfectly accessible to everybody. You don't need to train every weekend in the mountains in Europe to do this tour. No, it's possible. It's Easia Travel Level 1. So there is no issue. It's really for people who want to see the north. So of course, if your clients say we have only 3 days, this is not the perfect tour for them. But for the one who wants to see the north and do not want to spend a lot of time in the car, that's perfect. There's something I didn't mention. In the north of Vietnam, you can spend a lot of time in the car. You can have some days for 6, 7, 8 hours. This one has 3 days where you spend 4 hours, and that's almost the maximum you do. So we combine the destination so we avoid to waste too much time in the car. If you have some photographers, clients that are really interested by photography, this one is the best tool. I do a lot of photo. This one is amazing because it's not touristic at all. So your clients will get portrait of the minorities, and the minorities will smile, and it will be super nice, and they will stay in the homestay, and the landscape are fantastic. This one is ET Monghum, the last step, which is like huge valley, rice field everywhere. So it's really interesting. This one is also for travelers who want to see the real Vietnam. They will not see any tourists. It's almost guaranteed. I might see some in Mekong Chai, but Mongum and ET almost nobody. So it's really for people who are looking for something authentic. Mongum, ET, and Mekong Chai, this one is really, really, really fantastic. That's some of my favorite areas in Vietnam. Seriously, these regions are fantastic, really, really nice place. So we just discussed about a tour that was Easia Travel Level 1, which was accessible to everybody. The second tour I will talk about is a bit different because it includes a 3 days trek. So you trek for 3 days. It goes to Ba Be Lake and Cao Bang, which is more the northeast. So I just showed the map here. You can see Hanoi here, Ba Be Lake, which is north, about 5 hours north of Hanoi. Then you go to Cao Bang region, just here, again, right at the border with China, and then coming back to Halong Bay, which is just here. We indicated the duration here, so 2 days in Hanoi, 2 days in Ba Be Lake, 4 days in Cao Bang, where we hike for most of these 4 days, then go to Halong Bay and Hanoi. It's 11 days in total. Something I want to highlight, Easia Travel Level 3. Why? Because you trek from 15 to 20 kilometers per day when you're in Kaobong, so it's 4 to 5 hours. To give you an idea, it's about 700 meters elevation gained per day. So not something like the Himalayas, but you have to be fit at least a bit. Of course, the accommodation are mainly homestay because these are really up the beaten path region. Same as for the last program, we consider October, November, and March to May to be some of the best moments. This one is a bit less in the mountains. It's lower in terms of altitude. So in winter, it's also better. Just to give you a quick quick glimpse at the destination. This is the Babé Lake. So it's literally a lake that you feel has been dropped into the mountains. And these are the typical landscape you have in Kaobong. So this is where we trek for 4 days. As you can see, it looks pretty nice. These are actually some of our clients doing the trek. You mix the rice field, the mountain, the forest, the corn. It's quite interesting. One of the highlights of Kaobong are the Banzok waterfall, which are at the border. Usually a lot of travelers, a lot of travel agencies just cross Kaobong. So they sleep one night in Kaobong, do the waterfall and leave right away. We think this region is amazing. A lot of tourists just cross it. So for us, we spend time to really visit this place and do not rush everywhere. Again, this itinerary with Babé Lake and Kaobong, we also include the Halong Bay because we think it's important. And most of the clients will actually want to see it. This is also some other clients actually doing the 3-day trek. You can see the rice field in the back. You can see the forest in the back. It looks more like the jungle at this time, but the landscape is changing a lot. When you go to Babé, we can do half-day kayaking. This half-day kayaking is interesting. We don't stay 4 hours on the lake and just turn around. We actually start the kayaking from a river. So you go down the river and then you arrive on the lake. So it's really interesting and the landscape is changing. Something that people don't really know usually is that Kaobong, the region I just talked about, is a UNESCO geopark. So it's also getting more and more famous. And you might have seen already and wonder, what is it? We founded homestay in the north. So when you do the trekking, we found homestay. We help the owner of the homestay in order to just like improve the homestay, to make it better. We train them also on how to welcome the foreigners, what to cook, how to clean the house. So we have really good feedback when people and our travelers goes to Kaobong and stay in the homestay that we found. This one, so this is I didn't talk about this. This is the Banzok waterfall where it arrives. So this waterfall is at the border of China. I took this picture about 2 weeks ago now. So I was in Kaobong 2 weeks ago. It was perfect to travel. No issues. The local was super friendly. There was just no tourists, of course, as you can guess, but people are just living their life normally. This tour, I mentioned plus 800 meters, so be careful. It's for people who are physically fit. Else, it will be too much. So it's also for travelers who don't want to do north to south. This one is 11 days on destination that are really different and not often in the guidebook. So this one is for travelers who really want to see something different and who want to hike and are not necessarily requesting Sapa. This one, they will not see almost any other foreigners. And of course, the same as the program I mentioned before, they need to stay in homestay. So of course, they need to focus on connecting with the local and staying in the homestay more than hotel. You might wonder, Brice, there's 2 programs with the homestay. How do we do if our clients want to stay in a nice hotel? And that's exactly why I made the 3rd program, which is a bit different. The 3rd program, you don't have to stay in a homestay all the time. So focus if it's really interesting. This program is for Hanoi, Mai Cho, Pulong, Ninh Binh, Halong Bay. You may already know Ninh Binh and Halong Bay, sometimes Mai Cho, and less often Pulong. So this picture is Pulong, the rice terraces. This one, I just mentioned a program that is about 8 days. We can modify it. So we can do 9 days, we can do 7 days, we can even do 6 days. It's much shorter. As you can see, we don't go too much north, sorry. We stay in Mai Cho for 1 day, 2 days in Pulong, 1 day in Ninh Binh, the Halong Bay on land, and then we go to Haiphong and the Halong Bay. The hiking here, we mentioned Easia level 1. The truth is we have all different kind of hiking. We have from level 3 to level 1, level 2, level 0. It depends of your guest. It's really for anybody. We can even organize for family. I will show you just after. And in this destination, every destination, we have homestay if you want, but we also have hotel and we have charming lodge too. So for clients who are looking for 3 to 4 star charming hotel, we have everything that is needed. Yes, this is some pictures of Maicho, Ninh Binh, and Pulong. I just want to explain to you. Maicho is mainly about the valleys of rice field. So you can see the rice field are flat. You have a lot of mountain, but what you can do is you can hike here when it's flat. You can also cycle in Maicho. And this is the view from the Maicho Eco Lodge, which is a nice 3.5 to 4 star hotel, really charming in Maicho. When you go to Pulong, which is the second step, here you can see the rice terraces. So you see it's much more mountainous, and it's really interesting for the guests because they switch landscape. Maicho and Pulong are only 1 hour away from each other, but in this 1 hour, you go up in the mountain, and then you have the rice terraces. And when you go to Ninh Binh, which is the Halong-Bucht land, here is more karstic mountains, of course, the water and the rice field. So here you are by boat and you are cycling. In Maicho, you can walk and cycle, and in Pulong, you can walk. And here is also the hotel, the Maicho Eco Lodge. So it's really different, yet you don't do a lot of transportation. This, I just show you some of the key selling point of this tour. This is the Pulong retreat. So this is the second step with the rice terraces, second step, sorry. This is the view from the swimming pool. So as you can see, it's quite a good view for Instagram friendly clients. It's really perfect. The view is really amazing. That's one of the best hotels in Pulong. It's an eco lodge. So you have no AC, but the rest of the hotel is really, really nice. And I think it goes with the trends of environmental friendly hotel. You have a mix of everything. You can hike, you can cycle. This is in Maicho. So if you can hike and cycle, it's also family friendly. This picture is actually my nephew. He's called Luca. I think at this time he was 5 years old. We did almost this trip actually all together. So of course my mother is 65 and she's not really fit. So we had to adapt, but it's perfectly doable. You can just walk in Pulong. You don't need to go for 20 kilometers to enjoy it. You can cycle. We have bicycle with a baby seat or child seat, depending. We have a bicycle for kids too. So all the family loved it. Of course, they finish at 4 p.m. and they go to the swimming pool, but in the morning and early afternoon, we cycle, we hike, and they could also see the rice terraces here. We are in Pulong only 4 hours from Hanoi. So it's quite close, yet you have this whoa rice terraces. So when you arrive and you see the valley, you're like, whoa, first thing you take is your phone and you take a picture or your camera. So it's really interesting. Last step, and that's also what we did with my family. This program I just talked about, Maicho, Pulong, and Ninh Binh, is only 8 days, okay, with Hanoi included and Halong-Bay included, which means that depending on the profile of your client, you can go somewhere else. You have some 30 years old couple that is on a honeymoon, you can make it to Phu Quoc and enjoy a 4-star at the beach. You have a family that wants to see Hue. This is one of the tombs of Hue. Hoi An, they can go to Hue and Hoi An. It's not the perfect time in terms of seasonality. You can fly to the Mekong-Delta when you go back to Hanoi. So literally this program is kind of 8 days module that you can combine with a lot of other possibility, depending on the profile of your client, their budget and what they want. It's also possible to combine these 8 days with Siem Reap, for example, and go to see Angkor Wat or go to Luang Prabang and visit the old town. It's perfectly doable. So that's also why this program is really flexible. Any travelers and any combined trip with it. Yeah, I just mentioned about it quickly. This program is really for anybody. You want to be active, but when I mean active is that you are willing to hike, just to walk, even hike or walk, it depends on you, and cycle. You will see the rice terraces, but you don't want to have a lot of transportation. So again, this perfectly match with families traveling, because often the family don't want to spend days on the car, the kids don't want to. So this program is perfect. They can stay in homestay or stay in nice lodge. It's really, really up to them. Be careful though. I didn't mention it too much for the first 2 programs, so I want to mention it again because I think it's important. In December and January in Pulong, it will be about 5 to 10 degrees at night. So if you let them stay in homestay and it's 10 degrees at night, it's important to inform them prior to the trip, because if they didn't know when they arrive, they are really surprised. Northern Vietnam can be cold. Someday in December, early December, it can be 30 degrees. But late December, if you're unlucky, it can be 5 to 10 degrees. So it's really, yeah, it can change a lot, the weather in the north during winter. So be careful about it. Okay, if you are like, where do I go during winter? And if because Pulong is too cold, we have the solution in a few slides. These are some of the hotels you can have when you are in during this tour. So this one I might show. This is the Temple Garden in the Halong-Bucht land. This is the presidential suite actually in my show Ecolot. So you have the small private swimming pool. These are nice hotel. Of course, it's not a Marriott or any Four Seasons, but it's charming lodge, really good lodge experience. The staff is good, the food is good. So we have only good feedback about this hotel, 99% of the time. There's some really good hotel. Just to show you what it's like a homestay in the north. This is actually this picture were taken during an inspection with Matteo. These are some of the homestay we have near Mekong Chai. You can see the toilet. So when you mean homestay, it doesn't mean that the people don't have hot water. Here you can have the hot water. You have some decent toilets. You sleep in this kind of bed. We have mosquito net, of course. And it's just super authentic. You share the dinner most of the time with the family. And this is the kind of dinner you have. Too much food. It's always too much food. Matthew has done a lot of inspection in the north.
Too much food, but really, really healthy and really, really good food, to be honest. It's all organic, all grown by the family, and it's really tasty. It's unbelievable, like how tasty it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's super fresh. Usually the homestay are some of the best dinner or lunch you have in Vietnam because it's just the mother who has been cooking here and she's cooked these vegetables and meat for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, it depends. So it's just always really good. So we talked about the free program, one that was really of the beaten path, yet still accessible, one that was a bit more challenging, and one that was possible with nice hotel. Now we would like to talk about two specific destinations, which are in the center of Vietnam. These are two of my favorite destinations, Phong Nha and Buon Ma Thuột. I love this region. They have a lot to offer, but surprisingly, it's not that famous for Westerners. And often the travelers keep this kind of destination. So the first one we will talk about is Phong Nha, and I will let Matteo present it.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm going to present to you this destination because it's also one of my favorite, and I've been there various times. And it's also one of the starting point of one of our cycling tour that I showed you during our first webinar that we have in Vietnam. So why Phong Nha? What are the reasons why both of us love this destination? For different reasons. One is it's a great destination because it's really diverse. There is a lot of landscape in this small national park. You have the caves, world-class caving. Caves, as Brice mentioned before, there is the largest cave in the world in this area. So if you have people passionate about caving or doing this type of specific activities, we can also organize some 2 to 3 days caving tour. But also it's beautiful in terms of landscape, not only for the cave, but also for the view, for the rivers that are crossing these valleys, and also for the countryside. Inside of this destination, we design a different type of tours. So we have a day, multi-day cycling tour, but also day tour to visit the area by bicycle, as you can see from the picture here. This is on the right is one of the cave. I think this is Paradise Cave that you can
Paradise Cave, yes.
Yeah, you can easily visit by walking, so you can cross all the cave all along following the path, and our expert guide will explain all the information about the geology, the dates, and all the structure of the caves. Then, as I say, we have some day tour, cycling tour that people can visit this national park, cycling around. We have a small tour of 23 kilometers, one tour of 25, one of, if you combine the two tours, could be also a full day tour of 50K. And this is the type of landscape, as you can see, like the valley with the river and some rice field. So Phong Nha, in generally, it's a great destination. If you can move to the next slide. Yeah. But it's not only beautiful in terms of landscape, it's also very rich in terms of culture, because it's really close to the DMZ, and this area, it was also affected by the Vietnam War. And we also do a hiking tour along the Ho Chi Minh Trail. There is a trail that was created by the Viet Cong to transfer the goods and the army from north to south. So we will pass by this trail that was used by the Viet Cong, and we will also learn a lot about Vietnam while visiting this destination. So this specific area is for people that they want to do some active experiences, but they also want to sleep in comfortable hotels.
Yeah.
In this area, there are really nice hotels where you can relax, you can sleep, and at the same time you can do some activity around. As Brice says, also perfect for family, because you can do a lot of things. It's really diverse. You can do some cycling tour, hiking tour, boat tour. As you can see from the picture here, this is a boat tour that you can, we do some tours around to visit some of the cave. Another important point of Phou Nha is the accessibility. It's really easy to reach from Hanoi, for example, by train or by flight if you stop to Don Hoi. So if someone wants to design a tour that is less, not using a lot of internal flight, you can take the train and arrive in Don Hoi, and then just with 1 hour you can get to Phou Nha. And also it's really easy to combine with Hue and Hoi An. It's just 4 hours drive from Hue, and along this path between Phou Nha, Hue, Hoi An, and My Son, we have also our multi-day cycling tour. That I explained on the first webinar, where we visit all this area by bicycle, and the landscape is fantastic and it's changing constantly from Phou Nha with the national park to crossing the DMZ. As Brice explained before, is in this area. We stop, we stop to Vinh Moc Tunnel also to learn more in-depth information about the Vietnam War. It's a tunnel that is similar to Cuchi Tunnel in the south of Vietnam. It's really a town that goes under, like with all the tunnel. It's incredible what the Viet Cong they created during that time. And we learned all about history, culture, and one point that I would like to highlight, and Brice maybe can confirm, the food in the center, it's delicious. Like during the cycling tour, and also our tours in Hue and Hoi An. Apart from the culture, we will visit in Hue the citadel, the tombs, but we will do also some street food tour in Hoi An and Hue. And for the cycling tour, here we have beautiful landscape visiting Lang Co. So if Brice, can you move to the,
it's okay.
So here we have the Kachi Tunnel, the Vinh Moc Tunnel that you visit, and here are other sites that we visit in this region. So this is Hue, the citadel. Then this is the type of landscape that people will cross by bicycle or even with a vehicle from Hue to Hoi An. This is the Ivan Pass. And finally, nearby Hoi An, we have also a UNESCO World Heritage Site, that is My Son. As you can see here from this picture, is an archaeological site that people can visit as a day tour, where there's an archaeological site of the Cham Empire and tradition. And after that, I think Brice, still some other pictures. Here, other picture of this area. This is the view from the Ivan Pass, here with on the top left here, and in the top on the bottom here instead is the view from Bac Ma National Park. Also, Bac Ma National Park is a really great place to visit. We can do some day hiking tour in this area, and then you reach the top of the mountain, and this is the view that you get from all the Lang Co Valley. And also, in this area between Phou Nha and Hue Hoi An, we have, as I say, a lot of activities in terms of meeting with locals, and we do some workshops, stopping to some local people, testing some local food, and talking about culture and history. And now Brice is going to share with us some info about another beautiful destination that is not really well known.
Yes, that is usually not famous at all. This place is called Buon Metwat. Buon Matwat, it depends of the way you write it. In particular, the Lactated Camp. So Phong Nha was just here in the top left corner of the square. Buon Metwat is just here. So it's really the south of the center. It's a region that almost nobody goes to, yet it's quite accessible because you have flight from Hanoi, you have flight from Da Nang, you have flight from Saigon, which is just here, and you have flight from Kenton, from the Mekong-Delta. It's a multi-day activities destination. You can do kayak, cycling, walking, hiking. You can do a lot of things while staying at the Lactated Camp, which is the place I really like that I will show you in picture just after. Something important and a question that is generally asked when we talk about the highlands is about the minorities. So from here, near Da Nang to Buon Metwat, all the way here, there are some minorities. These people, they are different minorities from the north. They still have really specific houses. So some are really long or some are really tall. They have the different organization in terms of society. It's often the women who are really strong. So the woman, for example, will choose the husband. It's not the husband choosing the woman. They also have their own culture. So when someone is dead, for example, they have a different way of burying people, they have different cemeteries, they have different houses, but they don't wear the costumes. So in this region, clients will learn a lot about the culture, about the history of the place, but they will not take picture of the colorful costume. So that's something really important to know. And for me, that's an amazing destination to replace Northern Vietnam during winter. Because if you go to Buon Metwat in December or January, it will be good. It's 25 to 30 degrees. It's sunny. It's not raining. So it's perfect. You have the sun. You enjoy it. You don't have to wear a jacket like in the mountains in the north in late December when it's really cold or January. So it's a really, really, really good destination that can be really useful, particularly during winter. These are some pictures of the place, which is called the Lactated Camp, where you can do hiking and kayaking and cycling. These are the tents. So that's the view from the tents. For those who have been lucky enough to travel to Myanmar, it looks a bit like in the lake. You have the big lake with the mountains on the background. This is the view from the tent. So this is the restaurant actually, but that is copying the house you can see in the region. You can see that's really long houses. Usually one or several families live together in these houses. They have this weird stair also. That's the culture from the highlands, really different from the rest of Vietnam. You have some nice cycling itinerary to do around the Lactated Camp, which is in Buon Metwat. This is one of the cycling. This is rice field. This is the mountain. The lake is just on the right side. It's just fantastic landscape, and it's not touristic at all. It's also a great place for slow travel. You just imagine that there's a tented camp like this. You wake up every morning. You have a bit of coffee. You do one activity in the morning or one activity in the afternoon. You go kayaking, or you go walking or cycling. In the afternoon, you just relax. That's a super nice place. It's not noisy at all. And if you wake up in the morning and you're lucky, you have the fishermen fishing just in front of you. So when you wake up and you travel to Asia, that's really something. Last point, I think that is important to mention. In Vietnam, we don't have too many animals, and we have no experience with elephant except a new one in Yok Don National Park. So this is, this is 2 hours from the tented camp. It's a national park where an NGO, I think from Singapore, it's called Animal Welfare, invested a lot of money and started a really big project in order to put back the elephant from carrying the tourist back to the nature. And we can organize this. You go and you walk in a forest. You are never sure to see elephants, of course, but the elephants are well treated. So they have no chain, they have nobody hitting them. You never go on top of them. And that respect the travel life, of course. That's what Matteo mentioned at the beginning of the presentation. So that's the only way for us to see elephant. It's limited to 5 packs only, of course, and to see them, if you're lucky, in good condition. And in order not to be dangerous, because they have no chain. So we always stay a bit in a distance. We are with the local guide and also Mahout that is experienced, so it's perfectly safe. There's some pictures from the tented camp. I will say that the tents are some decent 3-star, but they also have some nice bungalow that you can see in the background. The tents have no AC, but you have a lot of mosquito net everywhere. They have 15 tents and 4 bungalows. And the bungalows have AC, and they are 2-floor bungalow. Both have amazing view, as you can see on the picture here. It's just fantastic views. You barely see any building or any house nearby. You really connect back to the nature. And of course, the hotel, they don't provide Wi-Fi in the room. You have limited lighting. It's not a place that wastes the energy. Also, something we didn't talk about, most of the staff here are local people. So you just help the local community to basically grow and have some more economic changes. This region, though, is not for everybody to me. It's for people who want to be active, want to visit the countryside during winter. I think it's perfect for families with teenagers. It's really good because you will be active, you will do some cycling, you will do some kayaking, yet in the evening you sleep in a normal bed. Particularly, I think in the bungalow, it's some really, really good bed, good setup overall. So for me, it's perfect for families traveling for Christmas, for example. You have a request, they want to hike, they want to cycle, but they know that the north is cold and there is no rice field for Christmas. This is a really excellent backup that they will love because it's going to be much warmer. Last point, I think also is for experienced traveler looking for something different. Why is because Bonne Méthode is really off the beaten path. They will not see it in the guidebook. Some of the travelers will still want to see the highlight only and do a north, center, south. But some of your customers who are looking for something different, that's a good opportunity. They don't have to stay in homestay. The activities are amazing and they just stay in good condition in a real off the beaten path destination. Yes, it's just really, really nice. I just talked about 3 itineraries in the north. We just talked about 2 destinations in the center. Often your clients, when they come and hike and they go for 10 or 11 days and they go cycling and they go hiking, they often want to finish by the beach. I will talk super quickly about the beach extension. This is a picture from Condao. We have about 5 good destinations for beach that you can reach easily when you are a Westerner and traveling to Vietnam. The number 2 you all know is Phu Quoc, which are the famous island just next to Cambodia. It's the most convenient beach destination in Vietnam. You have a lot of flights. You have a lot of boats going there. It's super easy, a lot of hotel. You also have Mui Ne, which is the number 4. Which is the option in the south when the client don't have too much budget or who are scared to take the plane, because you go from Ho Chi Minh to Mui Ne by car. It takes about 4 to 5 hours. If your clients are traveling in July or August, they can go to Hoi An or Quy Nhon, which are the beach in the center here. Well, they can also go at other time, but that's also great in July and August. It's most convenient. Hoi An beach is okay to good. Quy Nhon is really good. And it's just perfect to stay for 2 or 3 nights at the end of the trip. One destination that will boom in the next year is Con Dao. Con Dao is to me probably the best beach destination now, if you think about the program in Vietnam in general, because you can go to this archipelago, which is here, next to the Mekong-Delta, by plane or by boat from the Mekong-Delta, and by plane from Ho Chi Minh. So it's getting easier and easier to access. They have a bit more hotel. They have 1 5-star, which is the Six Senses. They have 1 good 4-star. And then they have other 3-star hotels. Con Dao is not only about the beach, it's also about the nature. So you can do a bit of hiking. And it looks exactly like this. This is some picture from Con Dao. It's a volcanic island. So it looks fantastic. I was there in January and the beach are perfect. There is no pollution, almost no tourists. So it's a really, really nice place. And you can go by plane. I put the private jet, but there is some normal planes going there. Okay, I just talk quickly about the beach. This is the last slide. I know it's a lot of information. I just wanted to mention some Easia signature product we developed in Vietnam. That's the product we develop, we operate ourselves. Everything is made by Easia. We should call it made by Easia. Of course, we have a lot of food tour Matteo talked about. These are the bambeo. It's a famous dish from Hue, actually, but I'm sure Matteo tried doing the cycling inspection. We have food tour, Easia food tour everywhere, which means we, of course, we don't go for supplier. We have, for example, a Polaroid tour in Hanoi. It's a tour we give your client a Polaroid with some missions to do. If they fulfill the mission, which are, for example, take the street food, take a picture of the street food, take a picture of a lady selling fruits, then we pay them the drinks. Of course, we pay them all the time. And they can have instant memories of the tour. We share them the Polaroid. We have some discovery of Chinatown in Saigon, which gives a different view from the classic visit in Saigon. We have a lot of experiences now, something we develop that are easy to include in a program. By experiences, we mean, for example, taste the egg coffee in Hanoi, or burn some incense in the pagoda in Hoi An, or anything, try a rooftop bar in Saigon, or use the water bus in Saigon. These are just small experiences that usually don't cost too much, from $1 to $10 usually. And that gives a really good experience of the client and say, okay, I did it. I tried the egg coffee. I tried the rooftop that is famous in Saigon. That's what we do. We also have treasure hunt, a lot of other activities that we organize directly ourselves.
Yeah.
That we call the Easia signature. Yeah.
Great. I think, as you say, we gave a lot of information. I think we can move to the question and answer session now.
Yeah.
We gave you a lot of information, and it was really good.
Did I pass or not? Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, you can.
My computer is freezing.
It's fine.
Okay, it's good.
So, as Brice say, it's nice to close also with this Easia signature product to see that we can, in all the tours that we share with all of you, we can add additional experiences to make the program and the tour even more unique with these small half day or full day activities in some of our destinations. Now let's have a look at some of the question. We have one question from Francesca saying how to combine bon méthode from your point of view, like what is your suggestion?
For bon méthode, you really depends on you. I think it depends on how long the client will stay, but overall you can combine with anything. You arrive to Hanoi, you do the Halong Day, you do the Halong Day on land, you go to Hue and Hoi An, and then at this time you're around 8 days. You're like, okay, I need my off the beaten path destination. You can fly directly from Da Nang to Bon Méthode, spend 3 days in Bon Méthode, and then finish by the south of Vietnam. Since Bon Méthode is connected to the north, to the center, to the south, and to the Mekong-Delta, it's super easy to combine with anything. It depends of when your clients, where your clients are going, but it's super flexible. Else, I don't think I will talk about it here. We have other destinations that can also work for a lot of travel agents, but they are really difficult to reach. You do 8 hours by car, or you need to go, I don't know, take 2 planes, and it's super difficult. Bon Méthode is really easy. For me, I recommend it for family. I think for family, it's amazing. For young couples, we actually had some staff going there, and they also loved it. It's really for anybody. It's one of the only spots we can really see wildlife in Vietnam in really good condition, in perfect condition, in what the Westerners are expecting. And for me, yes, you can combine it. As long as you don't spend too much time in the north, I will say you can go to Bon Méthode easily. Yeah, you can do even only south and spend to the highland. It's really flexible for Bon Méthode. We can send some programs if needed. Really, Bon Méthode is so accessible. That's why it's good, and that's why I think it's also easy to sell. It costs a bit more money because of the flight and because of the accommodation. If you compare, for example, with the north and the homestay, it's not too expensive, but it's just more than homestay, of course, because you sleep in a tent. And overall, it's just easy to include it. So just check the season. Am I in December? Am I in January? Am I in February? I can go. Yes, my clients, they are into cycling. They want to see something different. Glamping, maybe they talked about glamping or this kind of experiences. You want to stay in tent, then that's perfect. That's a really good destination. And it's 3 days. Sorry, it's 3 days, so it's easy to include anywhere. It's not like we talk about 8 or 9 days. It's just 3 days. You're right.
Okay, great. Well, so we have other technical information questions. One of them is where the luggage are stored and transferred when we do the trekking tour that we show on the north.
Yes, so that's a good question. Actually, that's more an operation question for us. It's fairly easy. When you do the 3 days trek, for example, in Kajaken, often the guide will ask the travelers to pack for these 3 days. So they will have this small backpack where they put their camera and their water, and I don't know, maybe they want to keep their passport and some jackets. And they will also make the second bag that they will bring directly to the homestay. Most of the time we can use the car, but in Vietnam, it's also quite common to use a motorbike, what we call xe, to move places from one place to the other. The hike is about, it's about between 15 to 20 kilometers. So by motorbike is super short. So it depends of the places, but often it's by car or by motorbike, and the client need to have something specific. We can accommodate it without any issue.
Okay. Another question, like you mentioned about family tours and also the hiking tour that we shared before.
Yeah.
What is the minimum age for children to join those tours? Like, do you have any
it depends of the program.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it depends of the program. I would say for the one that I said was flexible with my nephews, literally anybody, even young, I would say even babies can do it, depending on how the mother and the parents are seeing it. For real trekking, for Kaobong, I will think that it's about 14 years old. Often, actually, the 13 or 14 years old are in better shape than the parents, probably better shape than me, actually. Yeah, I think 14, 15, 16 is good, as long as the kids wants to hike for 3 days, or the parents wants to show the kids what it's like to hike for a few days.
Okay.
I would say 14 is perfect. I think around 10 or 9 starts to be too young, especially to stay in homestay. But if the travelers are up to, it's perfectly possible. If they carry younger kids, if the parents are doing it, why not? There is no big problem.
Okay, I think we can share just a quick information, just why we didn't include Sapa in this presentation. Maybe you can share
Okay, so Sapa is a question that is coming often since I came to Vietnam. Sapa is a big thing. Sapa is a destination that is evolving a lot, and Sapa is mainly about construction actually now. Sapa is a big destination for both. I don't know if I can actually. I will try to show it. I don't know if my computer will work. I will just show you Sapa over tourist. Sapa is actually much more touristic now because it's good for Westerner. Yeah, actually perfect. Okay, perfect. That's the picture I need. It's good for Westerners, but it's also a big destination for domestic market. And so you have a lot of 4-star, 5-star, 3-star. You have hundreds of hotels in Sapa now because the Vietnamese go there because it's fresh air, and also because you can go to the Phan Xipang, which is the biggest mountain in Sapa. So Sapa town is really a mess, I will say. Construction everywhere, dust everywhere, and also the local minorities have seen tourists for 25 years. So when they see you, want to buy something, want to buy my scarf, I do guiding, when you need water, need Coke, whatever, they have everything to sell to you. So the contact with the minorities is not as good. I mean, Sapa town. So for example, for clients who want something really different, we have the Topaz Eco Lodge, which is a National Geographic lodge, which is 1.5 hours away from Sapa. So if your client have the budget to go to Sapa and stay in Topaz, will not see this, or barely, they will just cross it. So it makes perfect sense. If your clients are really, they can do some challenging hike. We also have other possibilities in the valley. But for, I will say, regular clients, they want a normal hotel and stay in Sapa. Sapa is not really our favorite. Northern Vietnam is full of rice terraces region, so it's really easy to go somewhere else. Actually, Mogum and ET, we just talked about in the first program, about 1.5 hours from Sapa, so it's quite close. But Sapa is getting too touristic. It's still good for some clients. Challenging one, the one who have budget or the one who only can stay in homestay is possible. But for normal one who wants 3-star hotel and we don't have a lot of budget and just want a good room with hot water in the evening and AC maybe or something like this, then Sapa is really not the place. I don't know if we have other picture here. That's the valley, which are normal. Yeah, that's the construction in Sapa. That really looks like this. That's why it's really going to.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is the reason why in this webinar we didn't highlight much. If you can come back to the presentation, that we can close. This is one of the reasons why we didn't highlight much Sapa on this webinar. We wanted to highlight these 3 programs in the north that our production team and us, we design and we created in this specific area because as Brice say, the northern Vietnam is huge. There is a lot of places that are wonderful and really worth to see. and are really off the beaten path, and nobody's visiting like the area that Brice showed in the first tour, and also on the second tour in Khao Bang, where we designed a trekking tour, multi-day trekking tour with our with the homestay, with the local people. So we always try to create experiences in areas that are really less crowded and less visited from the main tourism mass. I think we can conclude the webinar. I think it's like 1 hour, 10 minutes. So just to, before let you go, if you can just go to the...
Which one you want?
Our tools. Yes, just a quick recap. We have shown you some of our tools on the last webinar, our Media Library Agent Hub. So for all the clients and all our partners, when you work with Easia, you will have access to our Agent Hub and Media Library, where you can download a lot of pictures in order to help you to promote our programs. But also we have a video library that you can watch our videos. And for Easia Active, you can follow us on the Easia Active website, where we have the latest news. And more, if you want to get in contact with us, to keep contact, you can add me on LinkedIn or send us an email at sales@easiaactive.com, and I and the sales team who will reply to you. Don't forget to follow us on with the newsletter. You can register here, where you can always be updated about our destination, new products, and new ideas. And also we have our Instagram page. Before the end, I just want to remind you that same time, same day, so next week, I will host a webinar about Laos with our product manager, Matt, and we will talk about active and adventure travel in Laos next week. So I think it's, that's
I hope I was not too fast, Matteo. I had a lot of information to share. I hope it was still structured and could be understandable for most of you. So I hope I was not too crazy with the name, and that I could explain why I really love this place, because the region we talked about are really, really nice.
Yeah, great. So thanks a lot for everybody for your attention, and talk to you next week. Bye-bye. Thank you, Brice, for your time.
Thank you. You will have they will have access to the webinar, right?
Exactly. We will send the video recording and the presentation on the follow-up email. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye-bye.